Hey, so if you're a student right now and you look at the world of technology and just think, where do I even begin? It seriously feels like a jungle out there. Well, in this explainer, we're going to give you a map. We're breaking down a really practical framework to help you cut through all that noise, find real problems, and build something that actually matters.
Okay, let's start with the single most important idea to keep in your head. Think of this quote as our North Star for this whole conversation. It's so easy to get dazzled by the latest AI model or whatever new tech is trending, but real innovation, the kind that builds careers and launches companies, it almost always starts with a real human problem. We've got to keep that front and center.
So let's talk about that feeling of being in a tech jungle. You're in class, you're scrolling online, and you're just constantly bombarded with new technologies, new platforms, and this huge pressure to figure out your entire career. It can feel pretty overwhelming, right?
And that feeling, it's not just in your head. Seriously, experts are pointing out that the near future, we're talking just a year or two from now, is going to be even more dominated by tech. The pace isn't slowing down, which means the need to navigate it effectively is more crucial than ever before.
Which brings us to the big question. It's not about learning every single new programming language or mastering every single app out there. It's about developing a mindset, a strategy to handle whatever comes next. So how do you actually do that?
Well, the answer is to use a structured approach. And no, this is not some abstract theory you're going to forget right after the exam. We're going to walk through a really practical guide called the Integrative Framework, and it's designed to be that map we were talking about.
To put it simply, this framework is a tool. It's all about connecting the dots between what you're learning in your courses and what you can actually do out in the real world. It's about training your brain to see problems not as dead ends, but as opportunities to create something valuable.
So what's the whole point of this? Well, it's about using technology with a purpose. The goal is to get you in the habit of spotting genuine opportunities, tackling problems that people actually care about, creating things with real-world value, and, this is a big one, learning how to surf the constant wave of disruption that technology brings. Let's think of this framework as your personal innovation toolkit. Inside, you've got a bunch of different instruments, and each one is designed for a specific job. So let's open it up and see what we've got. The first tool in the box is a special kind of lens. It's based on Clayton Christensen's famous theory of disruptive technology. Now, you don't need to be an expert on it, just get this. It helps you see how new ideas can either totally shake up an old industry or create a brand new one from scratch.
And this is where that theory gets super practical. You can basically categorize any new idea into one of these four boxes. Sustaining innovation, for example, that's like the next iPhone. It's just making a great product even better for the people who already buy it. But disruptive innovation, that's totally different. Think about the first personal computers. They weren't nearly as powerful as the giant mainframes, but they created a whole new market for people who are being completely ignored. It's a really powerful way to analyze any business idea you have. And it doesn't stop there. The toolkit also has other proven methods like Lean, which is all about building things faster with less waste, and Blue Ocean Strategy, which is about creating brand new markets instead of just fighting over the existing ones. The point is, it's a whole set of tools ready for any situation. Okay, so theory is great and all, but how does this actually work in practice? Let's see it in action. We're going to look at a real class project called Pick a Hat and Get to Work, where students use this exact framework.
And check this out. The results totally prove that main point from the beginning. A full 80% of the student projects started with a problem they wanted to solve, not with some cool piece of tech they wanted to play with. You see, the framework naturally guides you to focus on the problem first.
All right, let's look at the first example. A group of students decided to tackle a really common, relatable problem, a small family business that was kind of stuck in the past.
The problem was obvious. They were just drowning in paperwork. Now, using the framework, the students didn't just say, hey, you should use computers. No, they identified the right tools, they analyzed the costs, and they created a step-by-step plan for the business to actually follow. Now that is creating tangible value.
Next up, a completely different kind of project. This team focused on a consumer problem that, let's be honest, a lot of us can relate to. They zeroed in on a real frustration, the stress of finding a good gift. Their solution? Use AI to make it way easier. And what's so cool is that after they came up with this idea, similar businesses actually started popping up in the real world. They were ahead of the curve because they focused on a real need.
Our final example shows how this framework can be used for even really complex, cutting-edge technologies.
You see, in this case, the students didn't just say, let's use blockchain because it's cool. They identified a critical problem in the legal field. document security, and then they explored how this new tech could be the perfect solution. It's a perfect example of matching the right tool to the right job. So, how can you start doing this yourself? Okay, first, just start small. Don't try to boil the ocean. Next, follow what you're interested in. Pick a problem you actually care about, whether it's in gaming or music or science. Then, get creative. Brainstorm with other people. And finally, get feedback early and often. Don't keep your ideas a secret.
Ultimately, what we've been talking about here isn't just some method for a class project. It's a way of thinking. It's a mindset you can carry with you into your internships, into your first job, and through your entire career.
And here's why this matters so much for you. Companies aren't just looking for people who know how to code or use software. They're looking for problem solvers, people who can see an inefficiency and think, there's got to be a better way. This framework trains you to be that person.
So, we'll leave you with this one last thought. Forget about the technology for just a second. Look around you, at your campus, in your community, in your hobbies. What's inefficient? What's frustrating? What could be better? Because finding the answer to that is the real first step. What problem will you solve?